We are introducing a new series this week which will appear in the place of VA Hotline on the first program of each month. This new series will profile some of America's unsung heroes who have not only displayed heroic conduct on the battlefield, but who have made some inspiring contributions in their communities as a veteran. Appropriately, we have entitled this new series, Valor.
For his enduring service to the United States of America, we present Mr. Donald L. Rice with the Prisoner of War Medal and Certificate of Appreciation.
Vietnam veteran Don Rice of Cincinnati had served more than 13 months with the Army's AmeriCal Division in the Central Highlands of Vietnam. With just 2.5 weeks remaining in his tour, around 2:30 a.m. March 28, 1971, his fire base was overrun by the Viet Cong. Don's bunker took a direct hit. Blinded and wounded, he crawled out of the burning bunker right into the enemy's hands.
I bit one of them to where he would let me go. As I remember, I went through to the bone and he dropped me, and then two of them were kicking me and another one shot me.
Don's father recalls feeling a sharp pain in his head and leg at the exact moment his son was hit.
It wouldn't stop. And they asked me what was wrong, and I said, something's happened to Don, I know.
Don was left for dead by his captors and was later rescued, but this was just the beginning of a long, more difficult battle for him. At age 21, he would spend the next 2.5 years in hospitals and many more as a disabled veteran. But coming home is still a sweet memory.
The plane touched down in Alaska first. We touched down and I asked the Red Cross lady come in and says, "What can I do for you?" And I said, I got through to her through my vocal cords, through my tracheotomy, that I wanted to have a snowball. She thought I was crazy, but she went out and she got a snowball for me. She says, "Now what?" I said, "Just put it on my chest and let it melt." And I watched it melt because I knew I was in the United States because there was no snow in Vietnam.
The healing process was slow, but Don's determination strong.
I never thought that I was as bad as some. I mean, I've lost uses of, not lost total of. There were guys with no arms and no legs.
With support from his family and persistent therapy, Don slowly recovered. He traveled freely for a while before returning to his old neighborhood. His life took on new meaning when he met Patty, who was still dealing with the tragic loss of her first husband. In building a life together, they have shared dreams and pain. This old church is now their wood craftsman shop, where they live with constant reminders of the scars of war.
There's a certain amount of frustration because he doesn't have the full use of his one hand. And in the type of work that we do, when there's something that he wants to do that he used to be able to do and can't do now because that hand doesn't work the way it should.
You essentially become his right hand.
Yeah, and the sounding board for the frustration.
Don is 100% disabled, but with Patty's help, he works magic with wood.
It not only gives me something to do, it gives me certain satisfaction. Besides, wood is in my blood. When it spilt in Vietnam, there were chips of wood laying all over the place, I'm sure. Because I've always been in wood.
We get things brought to us in boxes, and when you get them back together, they're gorgeous. And it's just, there's a lot of satisfaction in that.
Together, they're raising Patty's 2 daughters. 18-year-old Paige is starting college and a promising career in modeling. 16-year-old Tara is a high school junior and pretty good with a horseshoe. But even as a parent, Don can't escape the war's aftermath.
I tend to explode at given moments, and it's simply because of frustrations. The kids are great, though. They've worked through it, and they always seem to be there.
It's a familiar fight for veterans' family members who struggle to understand.
Personally, I can't imagine living in fear for my life every day for 13.5 months. When you hear these guys talk about it and the things that they went through, and then the crazy things that they did just to counteract it, it's almost like they had to be insane at times to keep their sanity.
While his family is first, Don knows he needs a second family. He is second vice president of Cincinnati's Chapter 10 of the Vietnam Veterans of America.
Family can give us a lot, but there's still an empty part that they can't fill, that we can't expect them to fill, that needs to be filled by us. Us meaning the veterans. We need to talk, we need to contact each other. I'm lucky. 3 or 4 of the guys that I was with, I'm in constant contact with. We get together as much as possible. We visit for the weekend. and it really helps.
More than 17 years after he was captured that fateful night by the Viet Cong, Don's valor was recognized with a special POW medal. Even at this proud moment, thoughts are with those who missed the Freedom Bird.
Out of those that were taken that night, I was the only one that came out of it still alive. The rest were either shot, left for dead, and did die, or still missing. They are MIAs right now.